high level. And I think the most important thing for myself, thinking about these CBA negotiations, like this is the biggest moment the WNBA has ever seen, and it's not something that can be messed up. And we're gonna fight for everything that we deserve, but at the same time, like we need to play basketball. That's what our fans crave, and that's what all of you crave as well. Is you want the product on the floor, and at the end of the day, that's how you make the money. That's how you're marketable. That's what the fans get excited about. That's what the fans want to show up for. So, it's business and it's a negotiation, and there has to be compromise on both sides. And we're starting to get down to the wire of it, and it's become really important. And obviously, I want to help in any way I can, and I try to educate myself the best I can. Obviously, I can't speak to every single number. It's pretty complicated, but I think there are different things that we can find ways to say, no, like we certainly deserve that, and we're not going to compromise on that, and then other things that we can probably compromise on. But like I said, like this is the biggest moment in the history of the WNBA, and I don't want that to be forgotten. Similar, it's important.
So where did the accusation against Caitlin Clark even come from? It started with a media availability she did during Team USA training camp, where she was asked about the ongoing CBA negotiations. Based on her comments, a portion of the internet decided, without evidence, that she must be part of the 2% who voted no on strike authorization. But when you actually break down what she said, that theory falls apart almost immediately. Caitlin said this is the biggest moment the WNBA has ever had and that it can't be messed up. She said players deserve to fight for everything they believe they're owed, but also emphasized that playing basketball matters because that's what fans show up for. She pointed out that games are how the league makes money, how it markets itself, and how momentum is built. She also acknowledged that CBA talks are business negotiations that require compromise from both sides, and she stressed how important it is to find a way to play next season for the fans and for everyone who helped build the league. Nowhere in that statement does she say she opposes a strike. Nowhere does she say players don't deserve more money or better benefits. She didn't undermine the union, dismiss player concerns, or criticize anyone. What she offered was a measured, thoughtful take. Players should fight for what they want, compromise may be necessary, and losing an entire season would hurt everyone. That's not controversial, it's reasonable, yet somehow, that reasonable take became proof that she must have voted no. One fan summed up the logic perfectly by writing, Caitlin Clark probably part of that 2% that voted no. Based on what? Based solely on her saying compromise matters and playing games is important. That's the entire case against her. The accusation becomes even more absurd when you remember one key fact: the vote was anonymous. No names were released. There have been no leaks, no insider reports, no confirmations of any kind. Only the players themselves and union leadership know how individuals voted. Everything else is pure speculation. Despite that, Caitlin has been getting hammered online, accused of being selfish, disloyal, and anti-player, all without a shred of evidence. What makes this even stranger is Caitlin's actual track record. She declined to participate in Project B, the new 3-on-3 league positioned as an alternative to the WNBA. She hasn't joined Unrivaled either. Sophie Cunningham has publicly said Caitlin is a strong supporter of the WNBA as a whole. Every major decision she's made points to someone invested in the league's long-term success. But because she talked about compromise, she's suddenly being portrayed as someone who doesn't support her fellow players. There's also an angle many people refuse to consider. Maybe someone could genuinely believe that a strike isn't the best move right now. Not because they oppose higher pay or better benefits, but because they worry about what missing a season would do to the league at a critical moment. Is that really such an unacceptable opinion? The WNBA just had its most successful season ever. Attendance was up. Viewership was up. Expansion teams were announced. Sponsorships were growing. And a massive amount of that momentum came directly from Caitlin Clark. She brought in new fans, sold out arenas, and made casual sports fans care about the league. So when she says this moment can't be messed up, she's speaking from a clear understanding of what's at stake, not from selfishness, but from strategy. Unfortunately, nuance isn't allowed online. You're either fully pro-strike or you're branded a traitor. There's no room for differing opinions on tactics, even if the end goals are the same. That kind of binary thinking has turned Caitlin into an easy target, especially for people who already resent her success, and let's be honest, jealousy plays a role here. Caitlyn gets more media attention, more endorsement deals, and more fan interest than anyone else in the league. That resentment has been simmering all season, and this vote gave people an excuse to unload it. The narrative writes itself: she's got money, she doesn't care about others, she must be the holdout. Never mind that her endorsement income wouldn't disappear if there were a strike. If anything, she has less to lose financially than most players. The reality is simple, that 2% could be anyone. Veterans nearing retirement. Roster bubble players who need games to secure contracts. International players with different perspectives. Players who believe negotiation is better than confrontation right now. There are plenty of valid reasons someone might vote no that have nothing to do with being anti-player. If any other star had said exactly what Caitlyn said, about compromise, momentum, and playing basketball, it would be praised as a mature, level-headed take. But because it was Caitlyn, it became evidence of betrayal. That double standard is impossible to ignore. At this point, Caitlyn can't win. If she stays quiet, she's accused of not supporting her peers. If she speaks thoughtfully, she's accused of selling them out. She's being punished not for what she did, but for who she is. Caitlin Clark is being dragged online for allegedly voting against a strike based on nothing more than speculation and a reasonable media answer. The internet decided she was guilty first and then worked backward to justify it. And that says far more about the environment around the league right now than it does about her.